I'm still here. This is a continuation. So I have another story. When I do these little clips, I'm giving them a number at the beginning. So anybody who wants to chronologically watch them, it's very easy to go the numbering. Or I'm going to put a playlist in YouTube. In the last one that I did, I talked about the father of the one, and showed you the hat. And what I didn't explain was that this little character on the hat, right, was a little pig dog that the one's father came up with, and he drew it everywhere. And he would even take a block of wood, and he would get a jigsaw and cut a three-dimensional wooden pig dog, and we had tremendous affection for that little character of his. So I got a different hat on because I'm telling a different story, and here's where the story goes. In the 1990s, I was doing a great deal of three-dimensional computer animation, and at the time held a professorship at Pratt Institute. And through Pratt Institute and someone else, a laboratory approached me having to do with research they were doing. And the idea was that if I could take the data from the research and make it into a three-dimensional animation, it would be entertaining in the sense that they could show their possible funders or agencies or whomever what it is they're doing. And it would be immediately understandable. And so the research they were doing was related to DNA research. And what happened was if a mouse, not a computer mouse, an actual mouse, was crippled in the hind legs, couldn't walk, and was crippled for so long that the nerve endings and the channels through which all the nerve endings run had dried up, just like arroyos and streams on the desert. When there's no water, they just dry up. This laboratory had concocted a mulch, a white creamy mulch that when introduced to the mouse would restart the DNA trigger on the parallel symmetry, and the mouse could regrow its nerve endings. And you would say, well, impossible. It's out of the realm of possibility. They did it, and the mouse walked, and not weird, not like a Monty Python thing. This mouse could walk. I was like, shit, man, I hate to think of the probabilities. Okay, fine. So they took me out to the laboratory, and it was a huge facility under tremendous surveillance and security. And they gave me a tour of the laboratory, of the various labs. And when we went down into the basement, we turned right to go to a large door at the end of the hall. But to the left, I looked to the left, and there was another door at the other end of the hall. And that had a sign on it that was like, no admittance, nicht gut, verboten, forget about it. Security only. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. And it had a name on it. It actually, all the doors in this laboratory had names. Who names these doors? I'm thinking of the doors, before I slip into whatever. Okay. So they showed me another lab, and I said to him, well, what's that lab? He said, well, that's top secret, and we don't talk about it. I said, well, yeah, but what's in there? He said, just believe me, we have our classified information. I said, okay. So we set up a data flow where they would send to me under high security clearance data. And I would take the data and pump it into animated characters. And so I built a little mouse, and I built a little cage, and all in 3D, very virtual. And I started putting in data, and I showed it to them, and they were like, this is fantastic. This is what we need. I said, great. So I'm in the studio one morning. I was going to the studio at like 5:30 in the morning because there was so much work to do. And I wanted to get the commercial work done early so that later I could do my own work. And the idea is, I'm not going to let commercial work stop my work. That's been my motto my entire life, is that my work takes precedence. And if I have to do commercial work to make money, I don't have a problem with that, but it's not going to stop me from doing my work. Perfect. So I'm in there, it's like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm in the computer, and I go into their directory, and I do the download, and in comes all the data. And I said to myself, now, the security clearance they gave me probably does not allow me to look anywhere else but this data directory where they dump the data. And I said, well, I think I'll just click on Explorer and look. And there it was, their data directory, and then all the different directories. I went, oh my God, they gave me a log on with flags. Flags mean all the privileges. So I said, geez, I wonder if that weird laboratory with the name on it is in there too. I said, couldn't be. And I scrolled down, and there it was. I'm like, no, that's not possible. So I clicked on it to see what's in it. My computer shut down immediately. That was it. I'm sitting there and my computer's turned off, and I'm thinking, oh, did my computer just crash? It didn't even blue screen. And then the phone rang. Like the phone rang within, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 seconds, 6 seconds. May I speak to Mr. Lehrer? Hi, this is me, what's up? Never do that again. You have clearance, but only go to the data directory. And he hung up. And I'm like, well, first of all, their security is so high that the minute I was in there, they knew I was in there. And the minute I went where I wasn't supposed to go, they shut my computer down. From remotely, they shut my computer down remotely, meaning my signal was going out over, this was the days of the modem. This wasn't like high-speed Wi-Fi and all that bullshit. This was a modem that handshakes, like, it sounds just like a 2-year-old baby who wants food. And then what happens is, it's a modem, my signal's going out, they came in under my signal and shut my computer off. The next day I called, to talk about the data transfer, and the vice president, the guy who I report to said, if you can hold on, the vice president would like to speak to you. And I'm like, okay. Vice president comes on, and he said, we're very sorry about the data breach. I said, yeah, I was just looking. He said, well, I'm sorry, I don't really want to talk about it. We're not going to be able to have you continue on this project. And that was it. that was the end. And that's the end of the story. Okay.